Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So today I am joined with Adelaide. Adelaide, thank you for taking some time today to speak with me. Could you just quickly introduce yourself, let us know what you do and who you are?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm Adelaide, as you said. I help high-performing women to elevate their career and bring their goals and dreams into their reality.
Cool. Thanks so much for joining me today, Adelaide. So to give everyone a little bit of context, me and Adelaide are about halfway through our time working together now. And we've made a lot of progress since we started. So I wanted to do this quick check-in with her to sort of highlight the main learning she's had, the main progress we've had, and yeah, just to discuss how we're going to progress in the future and how things have been going. So, Adelaide, do you want to kick us off and just let us know really when you first started with us, what were the main things that were bothering you within your business? Where were your main frustrations?
I've struggled for quite a few, because I've been doing this for several years now, actually. And my biggest challenge has always been lead generation
Okay.
and not necessarily lead conversion. Like my conversion rates are high when I have a lead, but it was getting the leads I was been really struggling with for some time. I'd
Yeah.
hired someone else who I was told was very good, a sales consultant. And again, they really helped with the sales call and understanding that better, but that was never really my challenge. The challenge was, how the hell do I find my ideal client and find them in a number that supports my lifestyle that I want to live. So that's always been my greatest challenge, and it's never one that I've been able to easily solve.
Hmm.
So when my we had a mutual friend, and
Yeah.
when they were going on maternity leave, who was also semi my business coach, but mostly my health coach and mindset coach myself, I was like, I need someone else to help. And she recommended that I contact Alexi. We had a call, and instantly I was like, okay, I really liked your methodology. It made complete sense. And I just listened to an episode with James Wedmore when he said it's all a maths. Like the maths need to be mathing in order to get the income you want. So that you have a certain amount of leads coming in, and then they usually generate a certain amount of income. And I was like, that's then what your methodology produced, was the lead generation. So it was really great that it all just came together very easily. And I really liked your vibe, and you seemed very authentic, which I was very drawn to, because this space is kind of fooled, filled with bullshitters. So I really liked that you came across very authentic and grounded, and with a very simple process. There was nothing, there was no bells and whistles that made it seem too good to be true.
Yeah.
Um, or I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but it just made sense. It was logical. There was nothing frilly about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And look, I really appreciate those kind words. And so far it's been amazing working with you as well. And so what would you say then before was your how did you feel like that was impacting you in your business? Obviously you mentioned the lead gen was an issue and actually finding the people. How was that? How were you finding that was affecting you?
If I'm being brutally honest, it felt like I was failing every day in my business. It really sucked, because I know I'm a very good coach. The results I get are fantastic.
Yeah.
And it just saddened me that I couldn't get the leads I needed in order for the business to be the success it needed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think that's a big challenge with a lot of coaches as well. Like they're so good at what they do, they just don't know how to get in front of those people, and then that's what unfortunately holds them back.
Yeah.
And so then overall, what would you say were the key things that you wanted to gain from working together? Was it purely that lead gen piece?
Yeah, I wanted money.
Okay, fair enough.
I
Fair
needed
enough.
leads.
Yeah,
Because I love helping people, but also like I need a sustainable and consistent income.
yeah,
That's what I needed. And to need that, you need leads.
yeah,
Um, so I like my passion, my drive, my mission in this life is to help as many people as many women as I can, who are high performing women, but also who have similar values. So that's what we've been working on as well, is really getting women, I'm very specific who I want to work with. And
Yeah.
it's women who have this wild, adventurous spirit, or they're into sport of some kind. Like they're my people. And that's who I want my program to be filled with. Um, so it's really important that I'm helping the right
Yeah.
people. Um, and that's why I also like is very much like we're not just getting anyone, we're really pinpointing the right women.
Yeah.
So I can definitely help. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And like I was saying at the start, so we're obviously halfway through our time together as of now. So we've made a lot of progress. Like I was thinking back just before this to where you joined in terms of how you were positioning yourself and how you were attracting people. We've made so much progress in really refining who we're going for, how we're capturing them. But I guess it would be good to hear from it from yourself. What would you say has been the sort of results that you've been happiest about so far in our time together?
Yeah, I find this such an interesting question for myself because I'm always in the mindset, which is a pitfall I have as a knowing that I'm a coach, I'm like, this is something I shouldn't be struggling with, but I'm always in that mindset of like, not enough. So you're
Yeah,
like, wow, we've made such progress. I'm like, but the results that I was expecting, we not quite hit in terms of turnover.
yeah,
But I also am very aware that we have been able to develop the person and my service to such an extent that it is like 10 times better than what I was offering before. So
yeah,
that's really exciting that we have really like narrowed down who I am helping. And I'm just looking forward to all of this work we've put in to suddenly like taking off.
yeah,
Um, but it's been really great to build up the Wild Collective and really hone in. Because I kind of knew who that person was, but I've not been able to explain that. And I think for me, like having come out of like some really shitty health, and be out the other side of that, having you to hold my hand through this process is exactly what I needed. Um, and knowing that I have you in my corner, like I just know that success is in the level I want. It's guaranteed. It's just like obviously not on my timeline. So I'm just
yeah,
yeah, I'm just like we just keep on chugging away and putting in the work, and I know it's gonna take off when it's meant to.
yeah, yeah. No, and I appreciate that honesty as well, and I think that's important. What you've mentioned there is quite important for a lot of other people to see as well, because we all want things quickly, and I see with a lot of coaches they haven't got those fundamentals laid out in terms of like really clear on who they're marketing to, really clear on their client avatar, really clear on how to capture them. And like you said, we haven't got exactly the turnover that you want. But now that we've laid those foundations, we've got those fundamentals down. That
Mm.
is the heavy work and that is the legwork that a lot of people never do and question why they can't get to where they want to get to. So yeah, you've got to give yourself the credit because we've come so far and that
Yeah,
legwork has really set that foundation now for you to build on and grow on. And like you said, the progress that we've made, and if you think about who we were targeting at the start and how we were defining them to how clear and direct and the types of people we're getting
yeah.
in now, like you said, that success and getting those conversions are just around the corner. We've just got those final few tweaks to make. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think it's also important to for me to say for your listeners as well, is
yeah,
that I've done the work we've done, I'm familiar with. Like I've been doing it for years, but I've never been able to do it with someone. I've done it with someone one to one before, but then it just never I didn't have someone who could do that bit with me and then carry on doing it with me. Like
right,
the reiterations, the experiments, like we did it. I paid a lot of money for this one-to-one person, but it never like it was almost like they kind of got bored and then it just fizzled out. And I was having the
right,
challenges we had. But instead of being like, oh, just keep going, or oh, just like post more on social media, which isn't the answer, we've
mhm,
been okay, that didn't work. Well, let's try a different advert. Like, let's try it rephrasing this in a different way. Like what let's try honing in on a different core problem they've been having to see how that lands. And
Yeah,
I think that's been the most important is when it's not worked, is they've been like, well, this is fucking shit. And like continuing on the same path because you don't know where else to go. We've been like, well, that didn't work. Okay, that's really good. We've learned something. What's the next thing we can do to do differently to get a different, better
yeah,
result? And that's been probably the most important thing and why I decided to renew our contract. Because when something isn't working, it's not like I'm on my own drowning, or the person who's meant to be helping me is like, oh, we'll just keep posting. It's like, okay, let's try something else to get a different result. And it's done at a speed which I really like. It's not like, oh, let's leave it longer. It's like, well, let's gather the data we need because you keep saying 2 weeks to me, and then we can change it if we need to.
yeah,
And that's been really good because then you always feel like you're moving forward and
yeah,
that you have someone who knows what they're doing better than you do. So then you know that, and they have the like you have the history of results as well. So it's like
yeah,
this is inevitable now. Whereas
yeah,
before it's like, is this gonna fucking happen?
yeah,
That's really nice. Like now it's just like I know that we'll get to where I want to get to. It's just not, as I said, it's just not on my timeline. Um, but that's, I think, really, that's been really important for me.
yeah. No, and I appreciate that. And I think a good point for everyone to hear as well is that again, you've got to give credit to yourself because you've really stuck it out. You've trusted the process. You've put the work in on your end as well, and you've not expected it to come out the blue. And you've committed to the process as well. And like I said, I think we've worked really well together on that front of just being relentless and really going for it and making sure that we make this work. And yeah, I love our determination to get it going. And like we said, we've come so far since the start, and yeah, I think we're just around the corner from really getting this to take off.
Mm.
So, okay, and you've sort of mentioned some bits, but if you could summarize so far, what has been your favorite part of working together?
My favorite part has been the relationship because that's what I feel I was missing. Like having, I was talking to Natalia about this the other day, actually, who's our mutual friend.
Yeah,
And what I really liked was having someone in their, and now we're going to go spiritual, but like in their divine masculine who has the processes like very clearly laid out.
yeah,
Whereas, and then being in my feminine, it's like I can then be creative and go with the flow more because we
yeah,
have like the sandbox is laid out and then we can play in it. And that's been really nice. And when I would have um had self-doubt or fear, which I still do, but when those thoughts are there, it's like it doesn't matter because well, Alexi knows what he's doing. Like, so it's fine.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and that's really been the greatest thing. And especially with like how quick you are to respond on WhatsApp and stuff with questions or concerns. That's been really awesome. So it never feels like you're being left behind and it never feels like you're an afterthought. You feel that you are valued and that you're working as hard on the business as I'm working as hard on my business. And I think that's been missing for me before.
yeah,
So that's been my favorite thing is like having someone who's as invested, who feels as invested as I am in my own business, who's helping me move it forward.
yeah. No, yeah,
If that makes sense.
yeah, of course that makes sense. Yeah, it's an interesting way of I've never heard that response before, so it was interesting in terms of the feminine masculine bit that you said. So that's interesting. But yeah, I really do appreciate those kind words, and it's nice to know that you can see the hard work and effort that I'm putting in as well.
Yeah,
So I guess last question for me then here is a lot of coaches obviously have hesitations about doing things like this, because there's a lot of not so good things out there and a lot of things that don't portray this industry well. When you first signed up, if not, there's no problem, but just as a general question, were there any hesitations that you had that maybe other coaches would be able to resonate with?
That's a good question. I think because I was recommended to you by Natalia, who I trust implicitly,
Yeah.
um, that removed a lot of, sorry, this is someone now, Wetman outside my door. That removed a lot of concerns because I know she only recommends people she trusts. And I trust
Right.
her, then I know that she's good. But I have been caught with that in the past. So then when we jumped on the call,
Hmm.
um, I also liked how you sold, which then indicated to me that I would like how you would teach
Yeah.
selling.
Yeah.
Um, and you just felt very, um, I believed I could trust you. And the results you showed me and how you showed them in the spreadsheet, that made sense to me.
Yeah.
And your price tag was um reasonable. Like it wasn't big, but
Hmm.
sorry, it was a big investment, but not such an investment that you're thinking, shit, if this is bad, then I've just lost a chunk of money.
Yeah.
It was like just it was the kind of the best price tag because it was like you have enough skin in the game that you're going to do whatever it takes to make this work. But at the same time, if this doesn't work, then I'm not out that much money.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, that made it good to invest with you because you just sometimes with this industry, you don't know. Like I've trusted the wrong people before, and then I have lost a chunk of money.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what kind of convinced me and your case studies. But again, with case studies in this industry, I've had people show me very similar case studies. So they're like, no, they're earning like 100 grand a year, or they like 10 times, which is true. But then
Hmm.
maybe that's the outlier,
Right.
in
Yeah.
that program. So although I love case studies and I love success stories, I'm still very wary of them
Yeah.
because I've been showing them in the past, and it's like that was very much like the 1% unicorn kind of case study.
Yeah.
Um, so I also sounds a bit strange maybe, but I also like that yours weren't crazy success stories. They were like very much down to earth,
Yeah.
normal ones that I was like, well, I could do that.
Yeah.
Because I've fallen for like earlier in the industry when I was a lot younger, I've fallen for like those big case like success stories, like, wow, that could easily be me. And they're like, yeah, that could definitely be you. But then the work isn't put behind it to empower you to that to be you. Because it depends where that person is in their journey.
Yeah.
The cases you were showing me were coaches who were in a very similar position to I was in, who
Hmm.
just got really good results, but not unbelievable results, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm kind
Yeah.
of, those stories are fantastic, but I think they can be a bit misleading with some people in this industry.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. I think everything you said there is very useful for any coach, considering signing up for anything really. Is just sort of don't also just take the case studies for face value and find out a bit more about the person yourself and get a feel for what they're like and how you connect with them. Because you're right that a lot of those crazy case studies you see, which are extortionate, which feel unrealistic, it's a lot of the time, like you say, it's because they are the unicorn
Yeah.
one in a million results, if that makes sense. So no, that's really useful. And last question here then for me, who would you recommend us to and why?
I would recommend you to a coach who is struggling with lead generation.
Hmm.
But I think, and you can edit this out, I think I would only recommend you to a coach who has um, a product already. So not
Yeah.
necessarily a brand new coach, but that
Yeah.
could be because only the work we've done together. Um,
That's a good point. Yeah.
because I feel it's been very helpful with all the adverts and we know the kind of person that we want to work with. But if I was brand new out the gate, I think it could be quite overwhelming because you're then developing your sales and developing the coaching without really any case studies or testimonials.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure if you would need like someone who's a coach who's been doing it for a few years. You know you're really good, you have the success stories, and you just need someone to plug in a really good marketing and sales method.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I have my service, but I'm also developing the service. And I think it'd been a bit, which is kind of, this had to be my journey. But I'm really looking forward to the service being, the program being completely done. So then I can just do the fun stuff for my program and
Yeah.
then not have to worry about the sales, like having the time to either just do sales or just do the program, not trying to do both is quite a lot, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And it's not
definitely.
helped that I've moved and now I'm traveling. Um, but it would have been in hindsight. And if it could have been that way, it'd been really nice to have the program completely done. So
Hmm.
then all I have to do is focus on sales calls. Whereas now it's like if someone enrolls, it's like, okay, that they can't start until the end of September. Because I
Yeah.
don't have, I do perfectionism, especially for the price tag that we're charging, which is why I then lowered it because I was like, although we'll get there right now, if there's like something that's not 100% right, now the price tag is like, it doesn't really matter. And it's only, it will be a small tweak that needs to be done. Um, because there's already people in it. But because I know where I want the Wild Collective to be, now I'm like re-recording some of the content and updating the program for it to be that. And it would be nice to already be that and then just have the fun and then just be able to do the fun stuff around both of these things.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
No,
sure
that
how much that made sense.
I get what you're saying. You're
Okay.
saying, yeah, you summarized it well, essentially like don't take on too much at once and focus on first building your program and having that set up and then focus on the other thing as well. So you're not overwhelmed and you can focus properly. Is that a
Yeah.
fair
Or like
sense? Yeah.
use you and your method to do the one-to-one coaching. And then if you want to do to like get the first clients in maybe, but then if you want to program or if you want to sell something really high-end ticket, then you need time to develop that.
Yeah.
It's kind
Yeah.
of catch
No.
22 because you need the clients at the same time to then get the other stuff. But it'd be nice for all this stuff to be done. So then it's like, oh, someone enrolled, how wonderful. Not being like, fuck, someone enrolled. Now I have to do X, Y, and Z, and this isn't done, and I need to sign up to that. So yeah,
Yeah, no, that makes
a
sense.
bit
You'll get there though.
chaotic.
Nearly done with the program. Yeah, cool. Well, look, Adelaide, thank you again for taking the time to do this. For anybody watching now at this point, if you want to see an outline of the whole system that me and Adelaide have been referring to throughout this video, just use the link below in the description. But again, Adelaide, thank you again for your time. It's been amazing to talk to you, and I'm looking forward for to continue working together.
Yeah, thank you so much. And just to reiterate, because I don't think I answered that question very well. But you've been like the best sales marketing person I have worked with. So I would recommend anyone to work with you.
Thank you.
Wanted to underline that because I'm not sure I answered the last question very well.
That's all right. No, thank you. Again, I really appreciate that, and I really have enjoyed working with you. And yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to what the future holds together.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Thank you so much, Adelaide.
Thank you. Bye.